Well, we're back in the shop today. We went and helped someone get a swarm, or we'll say a hive. They actually had a hive up in a tree that they didn't really see, and they cut it down. It was all hollow, big hollow tree. And then we went and caught the swarm because they had disappeared. So this looks like the nicest piece of wood I have here. Gonna get a box built because right now I loan them my swarm catching box and some frames until they can get some stuff ordered. They would become brand new beekeepers, so it's super exciting for them. The other stuff, I got this crappy wood over here, and I don't think I want to use that. Last box out of this, and it was just junky. So we got the second camera set up with time lapse today. Let's go over and see if we can say hey, because who knows how long this will take for me to figure out, but we're gonna slap it together quick. Probably with that we'll make a nice one. It's a bottom. It's not a second nuke. I have a second story to go on to a bottom, so we're gonna make a bottom. Well, that went horribly wrong. I got this board about partway through. It was a real pain. It didn't balance on there too well. I really wanted to cut a smaller piece, but instead I'm cutting two pieces, then I'll run it back through again. This, if you click back in the video, you probably see it. It was here, sticking out, and it was just a little bit in the way. For some reason this stopped moving on me, and I had to look around and shut the saw down with the piece of wood in the board, with the piece of wood in the saw. Never a good idea. You don't want to bind stuff up with a skill saw or with a table saw. You're just gonna smack yourself with wood and it's gonna hurt. Alright, we got everything cut, so I'm gonna take it over to the assembly table, kind of go over what this stuff is. Probably will not explain why there's so many things in the way, but you know, it all gets used at some point. Alright, we got sides that are cut to 7.5 by 9.5. I call them sides, but they're really fronts and backs. This will be the front where the entrance is. We'll cut that out. These two pieces that are equal width and length need to get cut down. These are the sides. Those will make sides. And these two pieces, which are going to be cut down a little bit in length, but they're different sizes. One's 8.5 and the other one is 9. Because the overall width, this will be the bottom. The overall width will be 9, but if you're going to make a lid, you might as well have it overhang a little bit, and you'll be better for it. So these are generally small enough I can fit into the little saw over here and get a 90-degree cut instead of me trying to fish through that. You know, if you really look at my guide there, it's terrible. You know, I use this thing to keep it in place, which actually works well. It does keep it in place, but doesn't necessarily mean I'm getting a 90-degree cut all the time. So it helps when you're trying to put the box together if at least something is square. So I'm going to chop these up and get to assembling. give you guys a gist of how this goes together, this is, say, the front, and this is the side. Now, when they go together, they're going to touch at the bottom, and you're going to have a gap here at the top. You see that gap? Now, that gets covered by this piece. This piece goes on the front. That's why my boxes, the Nuc boxes the style I built, and that creates this rabbit right here, and that's your frame rest, because the frames are going to run long ways to the back. We'll keep your right side up. I pre-drill my holes. I'm using 1-inch nails. I think they're just like little nails. Let's see. They are those nails. They do grip really good. They got a ridge on them. They do hold into the plywood pretty well. Let's see if I can get a focus on one. Apparently not. Well, anyway, you got the picture. Alright, I just cut this entrance out. I wanted to make it a little smaller and more uneven than my previous ones. Just because I know a small colony is going to go in here, hopefully out of the queen breeder box. But I nailed this together. If you're watching the time lapse, it's a pain to nail these together by hand. You know, if you have there's a stapler / nail gun thing that will kind of shoot them in there for you, or is that I have to pre-drill and then kind of get them started and then hold the board square, and maybe you made yourself like a little jig. It would certainly help. I've made enough of these that I should have a jig by now, but you know. So this here goes on with nails and glue generally. I cut these forgetting that I'm making a bottom and not a second story. Normally the second story would have this here in the front to cover that. Like when this is up here, you need a piece that sticks out the same distance. But I've probably pointed that out to you before. So I'm gonna grab the bottom, nail that on. That helps you get your box back to square, and then I'll get these on the cleats. So these cleats will get used. I cut them to a different length now, but I'll end up putting them on the lid, and because the lid needs cleats too, so they'll still get used. Okay, ta-da! That is good, nice and cold. Let's take a look. What's the time lapse say? Up in the corner. An hour. All right, took me an hour to knock that out. And I've made quite a few of them. You know, there's at least 4 sets of these sitting out there. They work good, they work fine. This is my first year beekeeping, my first overwintering. So, you know, just wish me luck, and hopefully my stupidity doesn't catch up with me. I don't know what got on these boards, but it's on this side. So normally this is the side of the OSB I'll put to the inside, and this would be the rougher side is the outside. So the bees got it different this time. And One of these sides, where is it? One of these sides got holes in it that I didn't notice. Like right here. It's like someone was gonna make a hole. Someone's gonna make a hole, didn't exactly cut through or something. I'm sure the bees will handle that. A little extra ventilation won't hurt nobody. Generally, I'll put 2 holes in the bottom here with this. It's probably like 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 maybe. And then I use this screening. This is a 1/16 inch in spacing. I have a little bit of it lying around here, so I'll use that up to cover them holes. And a lot of times I put a hole in the back too, so they got some cross ventilation. Always important. So now I'll drill them holes after I paint it. So I'm gonna slap some paint on it, and hopefully we'll go look at some queens today, and maybe in a week or so we'll be filling this up with one of our brand new bees colonies. Alright, if you're curious, I found this old paint in my pump house. It needed a lot of water added to it. Turns out to be water based, but it's incredibly thick. It's pretty dark, so I'd like to redo all my stuff with white. But I clamped down a board. It goes inside here, right? Board clamped to the table, goes in here, holds this up, and then I can paint this side and then just flip it, paint it, flip it, paint it. Cheap brush, nothing special. I'm just slapping this on. When people say slap and paint, this is about as slappy as it gets. Paint could be like 10 years old too. I don't see nothing around here that's that color. They probably put it on my crappy stucco. Okay, that took about 20 minutes in real time, but we're painted up. Remember to do the lid this time. I'm a terrible painter. Hopefully you guys didn't cringe too badly, but I am hoping that anyone sees me paint gets the brilliant idea of never allowing me to paint a room, bedroom, house, whatever. I hate painting. But that's it. It's wrapped up. You guys know what the finished product looks like. Right there's 4 of them. They've been working. Now remember, this is not how any other person's going to tell you to do it. You know, you go to your bee club, do not bring up my video or what I said to do, because I didn't. Beekeeping is very local. It is local to your backyard, it seems. So what works for you might not work for the guy in the next yard. I'm hoping this works for me, because I like it. I like the bees. I want to try to give them just as much leeway as I can, and let them do their thing. I'm hoping to do this the natural way. We caught lots of swarms. I think we have that possibility. So it's time to dig into these and see them queens. Okay, we're gonna finish up the box. It's the next day, all the paint is dry. That nasty old paint actually dries in like 2 hours. So Not shabby. I've made quite a few of these boxes where we were called to go get a swarm, and I didn't have nothing to put them in. So we catch the swarm in the cardboard Nuc box that we had got with our Nuc, and make one of these and paint it, and it'll dry, and the next day when we're ready to put the swarm into something, it's ready to go. Looks like you're in the shop. So this here is just the $18 version that comes from Harbor Freight. You know, you just need to make a hole. See that wobble? Yeah, it's bad. So I put this generally in the middle because my stuff sits on runners. You know, there's a runner near the back and a runner near the front. So I put my vent holes in the middle so that they don't get blocked off. Sounds like the battery's going. Alright, I try to start it on one side and then finish it from the other side. Seems to get less blowout that way. Always have a battery on the charger. And usually you need a little pokey to get that out. I put this thing on to help support it, and so now I don't have access to those pokey holes, but because it uses them to keep it in place. You should see my floor. It's got tons of those things all over it. Oh, just too small to go the right way. Now these things get through plywood pretty well, but if you're doing something that's more of a solid piece of wood, these little teeth will get clogged up because they're not for this. These are probably more for like sheet metal. But the plywood, it's not as bad. They'll kind of eat through that. I usually give it a little wiggle from side to side. You know, let it eat one side and throw dust from the other side. I'm sure if you do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, so there's two in the back, or two in the bottom. And I'll get a file and just kind of smooth them up a little bit. And I put the screen on the inside so that it's flat. If you put it here, they'll want to build stuff in there. They might. I see they did it with my inside covers. If I have the screen on top and then I put a feeder on it, thinking that would be the way to go, they'll actually propolize a lot of it and just leave a small hole for them to feed from. So when I made these, I put the screen on the inside. That way they got a flat spot. They don't really want to close it up. And this I generally just put underneath the lip, kind of close. That way, you know, if we ever get rain here, maybe it won't go inside. I'm trying to eyeball that up that you don't hit nothing important. Dang, did I miss something? Yep, I think I'm just not left-handed. To work on. I mentioned this Harbor Freight, 18 bucks. Just to make a little hole here and there. I already broke off the bit that they came with, and I had to kind of fudge another one into it. But the original one was wobbled even worse. They're not tight when you get them, so see if you can see. This is the same sort of hole that this makes. You know, someone put on like a little 1/2-inch one with this plywood, where you know, whatever they used it for before. Looks like they started holes with the, you know, you could see the little circle around them, but that one plugged up with the paint. These are still open, so I'm sure the bees will handle it. Let's see, I think my file is just out here. Keep my file with my current weed eater. This thing was just covered in rust when I got it. It came with something else on an auction. I wasn't really after it, but I cleaned it up and sharpened it, and actually makes a really good weed eater for places I didn't want to take the lawnmower. Because this property had it's got a lot of wildlife, and I did some bad stuff with that lawnmower. So I smooth it out a little, mostly for me. Those bees probably don't care, but this way I get less you know, kind of issues with the screen laying down flat. So these boxes have been working out really good for me. As a first-year beekeeper, it's kept the price down on a lot of stuff for me. Allowed me to spend my money on frames. We just put in another $100 order for frames. It's definitely where the money's at. I guess eventually maybe I'll learn how to build some frames or something. It just seems a lot more difficult for the people I see online doing it. And I haven't wanted to tackle that just yet. Alright, I think I got one piece of screen still left from a scrap piece I had been cutting on. So, you know, it just has to cover it. It doesn't require, you know, anything fancy. Regular old JT21 staples. JT21 stapler from the Lowe's. Said I put this on the inside. We'll try to let you see it a little bit, because the other ones you probably won't get to see. Sometimes I put it a little bit at a 45, more of a diamond shape than a square shape, because when I slide the frames in, I don't want to have a flat part that I'm catching against. If it's a little angle, maybe it'll be better. So I just get it in, drop one staple, and then stretch it out from there. Try to get it as smooth as I can. This one's a little close on the edges, so I think I'll drop a staple there just to make sure that we don't develop a crack. Look at that, man! I'm a terrible aim with these staples. They don't want to penetrate too well either. Makes a hammer. Alright, let's see. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But, on to the next ones. Gotta cut these, I guess, from this big sheet I have. I haven't wanted to dig into it just yet. It's time. I'm out of everything else. And I'm just eyeballing it. We bought this stuff originally to make a food dehydrator, and we left that at our last place. But it worked well. It was it's the screen, like for a screen door, and we just built frames. Ran this on the inside of it. You put your veggies and whatever, and dehydrate some food. This one I cut a little bigger. Also, it's at the bottom. I've heard people using bottom entrances and like leaving the entire thing open on the bottom. Now, you'd think there would be some kind of robbing issue with that, but apparently the other bees don't go down there and look for it. Not sure if we're going to try that, but with beekeeping, you hear just about everything. And until you try it and see if it works in your yard, who knows if it's going to work. So I'm trying all kinds of stuff that my local beekeepers association would not recommend. They're very, if things are controversial, people tend to go with the safety of, well, this is what we've done for the past 50 years, so if there's going to be a mistake, it's somebody else's mistake. Instead of telling you the right way of doing something, they'll just keep telling you the wrong way, because that way they can't be in trouble, I guess. I don't know. But my point of view is, if you're going to do all this stuff and still lose 30% of your hives, I'd rather just let the bees take care of it themselves, and I'll lose 40% of my hives. I bought one hive this year. I'll never buy a hive again. That's ridiculous. But if I'm up to 8 by the end of the year, 4 survive next year, that's still 4 times as many as what I bought. So that goes on top. Got a little wiggle room, but you cut it a 1/2 inch bigger, so you can see probably can't see, but there's a little lip there. Try to have it even when you set it up. And I put the smaller entrance. Usually my entrance is a little bigger on these, but hopefully we're going to go right now and look at that breeder box. I went in yesterday. I was checking how they're doing on those medium frames, and I was able to pull 2 medium frames from Swarm 3, which is the one that we made queen cells from, and I pulled 1 from Swarm 8 because they had the next most done. So I pulled 3 frames all together, and I dropped them into the main hive, the hive we bought that's running a medium box. It's the only one with a medium box. Just to try to lure them up there. And when I went in, it looked like they are getting up there on that medium, so there's 2 mediums that we put in there before, now there's 3 more, so they got 5 medium frames with comb on it. Even some of it had eggs. That swarm number 3 was just being a monster. They even had eggs in their new comb, so hopefully that worked out. Hopefully I didn't kill them. Hopefully those bees take care of them. I don't know, but they were only eggs. They weren't larvae, so they weren't eating anything yet. So I'm assuming they'll be okay. We'll know when we go look. But the reason I bring it up, I did go into the split that we made. That's one of the double boxes that's waiting for the queen to be mated and come back. And they were still noisier than everybody else. So I don't know. I'm hoping that queen made it and that she's okay. But we're going to go take a look in the breeder box and see if any of those queens made it. Because I definitely need one. If not, I got to break that box down or start putting brood into it so they can try raising another queen. But I'm hoping that at least one of the queens, or I really need 2. I need 1 to go in here, and I need 1 to go in the split. If the split queen didn't survive. So let's go take a look at that.